How you doing? It's Sandesh here. I'm reading an article from SparkedOnline.com. It's an opinion piece, and it's about Trump's picks for his cabinet. And yeah, the establishment should be pissed because his picks are obviously the ones that people genuinely like. And anyway, I'm gonna get to it now. Okay. It. I'm reading from the article. Here we go again. Only a few weeks after the U.S. presidential election, and even before he has re-entered the White House, Donald Trump has whipped up another storm of criticism. The latest furore is over the president-elect's nominees for his cabinet, especially Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense, Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence. That pick I like because, especially on the fact that um, um, she's actually a military veteran, so that's a really good pick. And Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, and him I like because he's pretty much one of the few honest politicians in America who pretty much call out bullshit. So I like that. R.F. Kennedy Jr. for Head of Health and Human Services. That one was a great pick because he's always been on the side of people, always fighting for people his whole life, and he's all about wanting food to be healthy for kids and people in general. So that was a great pick. These controversial picks, I just love the fact that when they say controversial, it's like, what's so controversial about them? It's only controversial to the people that don't like the picks. But if anything, I mean, these picks do make sense. Seemed almost designed by Trump to wind up his critics. Yeah, if that it does seem part of it, but I don't blame him for that. After everything what they tried to do to him through the press for trying to get him arrested, trying to get him assassinated. Is like, I mean, I don't blame him if that's part of it. It's going to be part of it, but it's not going to be the sole reason. I would describe it as God tier level trolling, says Democratic Senator John Fetterman. Yeah, and that is trolling, but trolling in a good way, in my opinion. Trump's critics predictably used his cabinet picks to give an "I told you so" lecture to Americans who, in their view, were stupid enough to vote for this supposedly wicked man. Millions of Americans will suffer at the hands of this gallery of degenerates, said Tara Sermaya, a former Republican communications director turned anti-Trump pundit. The American electoral fucked around, and now they're going to find out. No, the Americans are going to get what they. The American people are going to get what they want or what they voted for. That's what they're going. That's what they're going to get. And it's not like Trump's an evil man. If anything, um, Kamala Harris and Biden were 10 times more evil than Trump ever was. And so was Obama. Obama dropped more bombs than Bush himself, and he even had to get permission from Congress just to drop some more bombs. And he killed more with his and with his, I think his drones program, he killed more civilians than he did targets. Um, anyway, not for the first time, the shrieks from Trump's opponents are overblown. His selections are unconventional and worthy of debate, but certainly not outrageous or degenerate. Part of the reason voters elected Trump was to see him shake up Washington, and his cabinet picks are consistent with that aim. What really worries Democrats and other critics is that this time Trump may be successful in disrupting the cozy establishment that has ruled DC for so long. That is true, and because I heard that the FBI and I think it was the Pentagon that met up with lawyers because I know for a fact that their time is coming to an end. They fucked up for so long, and the fact that Trump's win was not supposed to happen whatsoever, which made it even more good because despite everything they did to him, despite everything they did, they couldn't. they couldn't stop it. They just couldn't stop it whatsoever. They tried to brainwash too many people for so long, and if anything, it backfired on them because people that weren't going to vote for Trump before ended up voting for him anyway. It was like, it's like, what, let's take a chance, because I think they were scared about the fact that what if they don't want another 4 years of Biden and Kamala. They didn't want that, and it was clearly obvious that the American people did not want that, and I don't blame them. The main criticism leveled at Trump is that his selections are unqualified. For the most part, that is another way of saying that they are outside the political establishment, which is actually a plus in Trump's and many voters' eyes. Consider the military. Higgs said, I think that's how it's spelled. A Fox News host, a former Army National Guard officer who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, may not have a career in politics behind him, but he could be the jolt that's needed for the Department of Defense. The military currently faces a big recruitment shortfall due in part to a new woke ethos that is turning off conservative men. From the Trump point of view, except a cultural warrior and favourite among veterans is worth giving a shot. Exactly. That's what this is about. And there's also another name that was missed out, Vivek Ramaswamy. I think he's in the Trump's cabinet as well, if I believe it. I just don't know what his position is. And yeah, I didn't know about this guy who was a Fox News host. So obviously he knows about the devastation of war, because obviously he's done that. Similarly, former Democrat Tulsi Gabbard may be an unconventional pick for head of national intelligence. She doesn't have any intelligence background, but she has been a consistent critic of the national security and foreign policy establishment. After all the dishonest, dirty tricks coming from the intelligence community, think of the 51 spies who joined together to falsely claim the Hunter Biden laptop scandal was a product of Russian disinformation. Gabbard may be just the one to clean house, and how delicious will be her revenge. While Gabbard's political enemies had reportedly placed her on the no-fly list, she will now be overseeing them. Yeah, that'd be fantastic, because it was like major news when Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. Came on pretty much um, uh, um, decided to join his transition team. I mean, that was incredible. That was. Um, I'm a Brit, but even I'm genuinely excited about this because of the international positive ramifications to come out of this. Um, yes, Gabbard is an outsider, but the so-called adults in the room in Biden's foreign policy establishment have been failures. Consider Jake Sullivan, the alleged wunderkind who became national security advisor despite his lack of significant experience, went on to mastermind the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. He also claimed with brilliant foresight that the Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades. Just days before Hamas's massacre in Israel on the 7th of October last year. By the way, 7th of October, that was manufactured by Israel. Just so you know, it was manufactured by Benjamin Netanyahu. He sent them suitcases of money for so long. This was gonna happen. Didn't happen because of Hamas. It happened because of Benjamin Netanyahu. That's what it is. That's the reason why. That's the reason why that happened. And the Democrats are hardly in a position to adopt the high ground when you consider how many of Biden's appointees were unqualified. Peter Buttigieg, I think that's how it's pronounced. If it's not, I apologise. Had zero qualifications for being named Secretary of Transportation, with his only prior experience of note being the mayor of a small town in Indiana. That showed once in office as inept as in his inept brain has included clueless responses to a supply chain crisis, a train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, and then there was Rachel Levine, Biden's assistant health secretary, who pushed to allow gender reassignment surgeries on young people. I'm so glad this bullshit is it's gonna end, because young people should not be should not be put in danger like that, because that is dangerous, physically dangerous and mentally dangerous too. Anyone who approved this zealous trans activist to serve in a senior government position should not be taken seriously. The second common criticism levelled against Trump's selection is that they are all loyalists. There will be so-called yes men and women, critics believe, who will do Trump's bidding with no questions asked. Trump will enter office with far fewer guardrails and checks on his power than last time, warns David Smith in The Guardian. Look at that, The Guardian. That's like a bullshit as ever, The fucking Guardian. This fear mongering is just another variation of the pre election yelp that Trump is waiting to reveal his inner Hitler. This is nonsense. Every president seeks to have loyalists in his closet advisory roles so as to better implement the agenda of voters wanted. That's nothing new. That's the thing. They have to be loyalists because they all have to be on the same page. If they're not the same page as a prime minister or the president, and then it's just gonna come down like a stack of cards. It's just gonna come all crashing down. So they have to be loyalists. I just love this all. I just love I just love the meltdown that is happening. It's just brilliant. It's clownish. Likewise, if anything, I wish we had someone like that in this country. The only one I could think of is Nigel Farage personally. Likewise, Trump's selection of RFK Jr. is somewhat understandable, given how the former Democrat and scion of the Kennedy clan threw his support behind Trump during the presidential campaign, but it is also misguided. MAGA world's embrace of RFK Jr. as an ally is quite the headspin, given that this is the same man Trump once called a liberal lunatic. This weirdo anti-vaxxer is now presented as a kind-hearted guy. He is a kind-hearted guy. I reckon they'll hold that anti-vaxxer thing. Yeah, I'll definitely hold that against him, no doubt about it. Who just wants to ensure that American kids eat healthy food and avoid growing up to be obese. Hence the slogan, "Make America Healthy Again." What the hell's wrong with that? I mean, because at least, but it's not just about kids. He wants people to be able to eat healthy, and that can only happen if we and that can only happen if the corporations in America fall in line. That can only happen if someone calls them out. RFK Jr. has backed off his anti-vax views somewhat recently, saying he just wants people to have a more informed choice. Yet, as recently as last year, he touted links between early vaccination and autism, a theory that has been thoroughly debunked. I noticed that they mentioned stuff that was last year. Anyway, RFK Jr. blames without evidence Wi-Fi radiation, fluoride in the water, and consumer products for various health problems. How do you know there is no evidence to back any of this up? I know there was a video Jimmy Dore did with a doctor, and even he said the same thing, that there is radiation in Wi-Fi and the fluoride in tap water when you drink water from the tap. There's fluoride in the tap water, and obviously consumer products, because the amount of sugar, it's not just the amount of sugar, it's what else they put in there. And I mean, do you really want your kids to eat stuff and where you don't know what the hell is being put in the food? I mean, I wouldn't. He especially targets American farmers for using genetically modified foods, pesticides, and fertilizers, and that's a group that Trump needs to remain in his camp. Yeah, he should. Certainly, in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, the US health authorities need major reform. They shut down schools and businesses over promised the benefits of vaccinations and giving misleading advice about masks. The public, understandably, is now open to listening to skeptics, but appointing a conspiracy theory mongering gadfly like RFK Jr. is not a constructive way to respond to that. Rather than restoring faith in health authorities, farmers, and the pharmaceutical industry, he is far more likely to sow deeper distrust. No, what it is, they have trust in him. They don't trust the health authorities, and they don't trust the pharmaceutical industry. They trust RFK Jr. That's where the trust is, and that's why he was appointed in that role. Gatz and RFK Jr. will face opposition in Senate approval hearings and may not even be approved. If they are not, Trump has aired the possibility of making them recess appointments, that is, to use a loophole and install them when the Senate is adjourned. That norm defying approach would play right into the hands of Trump's critics, who desperately want to paint him as an authoritarian. Completely disagree yet again. And this the more Trump, if Trump does stuff on which if Trump does stuff on which the mainstream media does not like, it's actually going to make it even better because he's doing stuff out of left field. Left field. That's what people want from him. In the meantime, the Democrats can screech about Trump's cabinet nominees, but it seems few Americans are listening, and they shouldn't listen. They have cried wolf about Trump too many times. After watching the Democrats screw up so badly while in power, Americans are willing to give Trump and his band of renegade appointments an opportunity to prove themselves. The self-proclaimed adults in the room blew their chance. Now they have to watch from the sidelines as Trump pursues his electoral given mandate. Yeah, there was a lot of this article I didn't agree with, but the thing is, if they're renegades, then you know what they should then they should probably wear that as a badge of honor because they should be renegades against the establishment system because this system has not been working for way too long and is like enough is enough. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.